Yeah, so rowdy in terms of noise. And if you're a neighbour, a poor neighbour, and they're having a party over there, at some stage you hear the noise level go up. And yes, you're right, they have reached the 0.0305 alcohol level, and they are definitely getting that noisy. It's a real phenomenon. It actually is real. They're not doing it just to annoy you. It's actually happening inside their bodies.
So there's something about the way the body processes alcohol that affects the way that we're hearing.
That's
Do
right.
you understand what's going on with that process?
We've got a rough idea. Now, alcohol of itself, let me just divert for a second, amazing liquid. You can use it to store axolotls in glass jars for centuries, strip the stains off your garage floor, and in small quantities, it can make life easier. So just talking about the quantities and the levels, and I thought I'd just go for blood alcohol concentration because that's a legal thing. And depending on where you are in the world, the blood alcohol concentration varies from 0 to 0.03, 0.05 in Australia, and 0.08.
When you're allowed to drive.
When you're allowed to,
Yeah.
if you've got a level above that, you've committed some sort of crime, etc., and quite rightly, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it's amazing that this stuff, which is so bad at high levels, can be, in very low levels, sort of kind to you.
And help in a social situation people to interact a little bit more easily.
Yeah, like I've got some relatives who, if they've got one drink, they're ever so much open at the Christmas party. Okay, so what happens inside your body? We think it interferes with the hearing chain, and we think it anaesthetises your hearing. It anaesthetises something along the way to send the sound information to your brain, and so you're not hearing the outside world. So you and I are talking, I'm talking at this sort of level, I then have 2 glasses of alcohol, 1, 2, and then I'm not hearing you so loudly, and so I'll talk more loudly. I'm not even hearing myself so loudly. I'm not hearing myself. And so I talk more loudly because I think that I have to talk at this high level so I have the same perceived level. And it can happen at many different ways.
So it's something to do with your perception of sound.
Yeah, but I remember starting off as a physicist and thinking, oh, well, OK, now I understand how the universe begins, got that out of the way, and I shifted over into biomedical engineering, and my very first project was write about how hearing happens. I had no idea. I just thought it was magic. You know, back in those days, I thought that the inside of the body was just full of this chunky red salsa would leak out if you got caught in a fight or something, right? So the sound comes down the ear canal, and the ear canal itself is tapered to improve the impedance, the matching of the energy in the air to the eardrum. Then the eardrum goes back and forth like this. And when you're listening to the quietest possible noise you can listen to, the eardrum is moving back and forth a distance about the diameter of a hydrogen atom. Now, we're talking quantum effects. And then it talks to 3 little bones, which have got these beautiful synovial joints. They're the Rolls-Royce of joints, and they're very low friction, and they then transmit the movement. So we've moved from air to little bones to a little tiny window. And the window goes pulse, 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 pulse. And then on the other side of the window is this fluid-filled cavity shaped like a cone. And then pressure waves go up and down. And then depending on the frequency of the sound, hairs will bend. And if it's a high frequency, they'll bend here, and if it's a low frequency, they'll bend there. And when they bend, they give off electricity. Then this electricity then travels through a nerve somewhere into your hearing centre, and there your brain does magical stuff and then turns it into, good morning, Carl, how are you? Right? And so somewhere along there, somewhere along that complicated chain, the alcohol dampens down your own impression of how loudly you're talking, so you end up talking more loudly when you're a bit drunk.
Is there also the effect that alcohol is having on our behaviour that might make people a little bit more inclined to be perhaps competitive, you know, trying to talk over one another, and that induces a little bit more rowdiness?
And you hit the social side in one, dead right there as well.
Yeah. So what can we do in terms of this situation? Are there long-term effects to be had if you're drinking consistently?
Unfortunately, it does seem that there are long-term effects, and it does seem to be, and I'm sorry to say this, worse for women than for men. So women, for the same blood alcohol, will go deafer in the same short-term situation than a man. They will go deafer than a man. Long-term, we don't know yet. We're still looking at it. So it's kind of like a little bit is good, but too much is bad. You know, the old, all things are poisons, what matters is the dose.
Oh, my goodness. So, Dr. Carl, it's not necessarily the case of having to worry about being blind drunk.
No.
It might be a case of having to worry about being deaf drunk.
Oh, boom, boom.
Let's look after ourselves out there. Dr. Karl, thank you very much.
Thank you.